basically, I'm gonna give you a rundown of how to do this. All right, first things first, take the bumper off. If you don't know how to take the bumper off, it's easy. Tabs right here, pops this off, tabs on the top, pop that off, comes off of one, cool. Then you're gonna come over here, pop the windshield wipers. I believe they're 14 millimeters. And then I'll let you know when I'm done. All right, so they were actually 15 millimeter bolts. All right, so pop that off, those two bolts off. Your windshield wipers come off, okay? And then you pop all of these clips, and then it will come out. So I'll show you when it's out. All right, that thing's off now. Cool. Now you're gonna take off this bolt and this bolt, and then the same on that side, that bolt and that bolt. Watch. All right, now I got those bolts off. Kind of had to take these off too. Anyway, these bolts right here were like a 10 millimeter to take off the windshield wiper shit. And then you get to this emptiness, okay? You're gonna take off this clip. I already unloosened it. I need to get this in here. You gotta take out this clip. You're gonna take both these off, take off this, and then you're gonna take off these lines right here. I'll tell you what both these are in a sec. Okay, and then you're going to have to take off the steering rack bolt. It's 10 millimeter. Best way, from the bottom. And use a socket, 6-inch socket. Do not use a wrench because you will strip that bitch. Use this socket, okay? Go. All right, I didn't really get a good video filming, but right after you get all that top stuff taken off, the hose lines off, the AC lines off, your radiator off, you're gonna need your fuel line off as well. It's in the back of the engine. You can get a little tool at Harbor Freight. Comes in a pack. I believe it's the orange one. You'll find it. Anyway, after you get that, you really just disconnect the bottom stuff. So your 4 bolts on your transmission first, your 6 bolts on your drive shaft. They're T50s. Then you're gonna get your exhaust bolts off. After you do that, you're literally almost ready to drop. You got 4 bolts left, really. It's your subframe bolts, your strut bolts, and your control arm bolt. It's 1 bolt, get that off. Get your strut bolts, 3 of them at the top of the tower, and then your subframe bolts. Once you get your subframe bolts, the engine will literally drop down, and then you drop it down and then pull it out. You don't have to touch none of the brake lines or anything like that. You will have to disconnect the brake lines though in the front. It's really not hard. I think it's a 10 millimeter. And then put it back in the same way. Only thing you'll have to do is send your computer out. There's 3 places: MMX, Hemi-Fever, and I believe High Horsepower Performance will do it. Send it out, say you need a 6.4 flash, they'll send it back with a 6.4 flash. You put your computer back in, and it's ready to start. Literally put it back in the same way, it will fit. And yeah, that's really how you do the swap. If you have any questions, comment, I'll answer. But yeah, you really don't have to change much at all. I mean, if you did the rear end already, I already did the 309 diff in the back with the big axles, so I didn't really touch that. But if you're doing a 3.6 swap to either a 5.7 or a 6.4, you will have to get a new drive shaft and a new differential, 100%. But yeah. All right, so I didn't really get a good picture video, but I did kind of explain it earlier in the video in my car. But I'm just gonna show you where like the main bolts are, what I was talking about with the 4 subframe bolts. There's gonna be one right. Let me get down here. There's gonna be one right here. That's one of your subframe bolts, and then your other one is gonna be like right there as well. So, and there's 2 on each side. So you get that, and then right after that, you'll get those 2 bolts for your exhaust. And then let me see if I can get a better picture. And then your drive shaft is like right behind this. So that's the T50 bolts. Let's see here where the other sub right. You see there's the bolt right there. right here. That's the other subframe bolt. So it's 2 on each side. You do that and that. Get your drive shaft. Get this off, and then you should be ready to drop. And then you got to get this bolt, and then you got to take this cover off. This cover just, I don't want to take it off because it was a bitch to get off for me, but you just pop it off. There's 3 bolts right there, and then you're just gonna disconnect your brake, like right here, like right over here is your brake line. So you just disconnect that brake line, and then it should be ready to drop. You won't have to touch none of this or none of these lines. And then for your radiator, you pop this hose off, you pop that lower hose off, and then you'll have some brackets under here when you get the bumper off. And you just boom, 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 and the whole radiator should come off, and then you should be able to drop that whole engine down and pull it out. Once you pull it out, you just literally put it back in the same way, and then it bolts right up. One thing you'll have to do if you don't have you'll have to make your own power wire. It goes down to right here, because the 5.7 harness, it's built in, and it's not built into this harness. This is how it gets the connection for the power to the engine, and then this goes through there. But yeah, other than that, yeah, it's really how you do it. Currently, and then when I did do the swap, I messed up my clock spring. So when you disconnect that drive shaft, make sure you put a seatbelt through the steering wheel, and make sure it doesn't spin, because you will ruin your clock spring, and none of your features will work. So your paddles, your buttons, nothing will work. Your power steering still works a little bit, but your traction control, electrical stability will all be off. But yeah, if y'all want a cold start, or not a cold start, I was already driving, but here is what it sounds like. Not too bad. A little video.